have my laptop. I can actually screen capture my screen. I don't have to use my phone, so it should be better quality. The one thing I want to, I guess, stress here is now that we're getting closer to a test date is our timing, right? So time yourselves doing these problems. And I know I didn't assign all of them, but the ones that are assigned, you can just time and see if you can, figure out how you're doing in terms of time. So first problem. So let's take a look quick. It's order of operations. The first thing I would do is change these three into standard notation. So what I mean by that is 4 minus 6 divided by, instead of absolute value of negative 2, I'm just going to write it because it's the same thing as 2. So whether you say I have the absolute value of $2 in my wallet or I have $2 in my wallet, this is exactly the same thing. Plus, and this is plus negative 3, so it's negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. We know it's negative. Remember, negative times a negative is a positive. Positive times this negative will give me that negative. So all this is going to be a negative. So I'm going to write in parentheses, right? So you can leave it as plus negative 3, or you can just write that. It's the same exact thing. And then times 2 1/3, which I'm going to change to an improper fraction. 3 times 2 is 6. 7 over 3. Okay. Order of operation dictates we have to do division and multiplication from left to right. So we can take care of these two and then these two. And sorry, this is not mine. I don't know why I wrote that. I apologize. This should be negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. 9 times 3, that's going to be negative 27. I apologize for that. Okay, so order of operation, so we got 4, and this is minus 6 divided by 2, which is negative 3. And this is a negative times a positive, which gives me a negative. And then let's see if I can do anything here to simplify. This 3 and this 27 can be simplified to 9, and 9 times 7 is 63. Remember, I know I wrote it like that, but if you're more comfortable writing it like this, you can also write it like that. The both means the same thing. Remember that subtraction is the same thing as added, the additive inverse, right? So it's whichever one you might be more comfortable with. So 4 minus 3, let's do it from left to right, is 1. And then 1 positive minus 63 is negative 62, which again, you could have written it like this as well. So 58 is negative 62. 59 is just a two-step equation. Notice that this is not a multiple choice. So if you had a multiple choice, you can just plug in the values of whatever multiple choice into X and see if the left side, the expression on the left is equal to the expression on the right. But we don't have that, so we actually have to solve it. So minus 8 on both sides. This is 36. That goes away. 3x. The inverse operation of multiplication is division, so we're going to divide both sides by 3. And we get x equals 12. She opened a money market account, deposited $3,000. He earns $2,000 simple interest right away. No, you know that I equals PRT. I is the interest that you earn. P is the principal, the money you deposit or borrow. R is the interest rate that they will give you or charge you. And T is the time in years. So how many years? So T, so again, how many years will it take for her 3,000 deposit to earn 420 in interest? So you put $3,000, you leave it in the bank for a certain amount of time. After how many years, will it take for that $3,000 to become 3,422? And this is the part that you made, right? So the bank is going to give you $420 for as a thank you for depositing that initial $3,000 in that account, right? So we want to know the time. So and that's important here because $3,000 is your principal. It's how much money you put in. That we check. The interest rate is 2%, or as a decimal, 0.02. T is our time, and that's going to stay as what we want. And then 420 is your interest, the amount of money that you earned. I'm going to put it over here. That's your equation. We're going to solve for T, right? So Let's simplify 3,000. Actually, let's do this without calculator. 3,000 times 0.02. Got 0, 0, 0, 2 times 3, 6. Move the decimal 2 over. We get 60, so this becomes 420 equals 60t. We're going to divide both sides by 60. And t equals 7. Right, so, and remember the time is in years, so you need to leave that money for 7 years. And 7 years when you come back, your account balance will say 3,420. 61, it's questions like 61, it's a scale drawing. I like to draw. The visual definitely happens. In the drawings, in the scale drawing of a rectangular patio, so you have a patio. The length is 14 inches, and the width is 10 inches. So we have this is your drawing. Okay. In the drawing, 4 inches, so we have a scale that says 4 inches equals 5 yards in real life. What is the length of the actual patio in yards? So now that's your drawing. This is your drawing. So in your notebook, you draw your patio. Now you go outside and you have your real patio, right? Your real patio. And they're asking for the actual length. So what's 14 inches? Well, we're going to use this scale twice. So let's find the length. So we get 4 inches, and we can set up a portion is 5 yards. Right, that's what's given to us. And then we're going to do 14 first. Well, if you have 14 inches, how many yards would that be? But obviously, instead of that question mark, we use a variable. You can use whatever variable you want. We just use x. Cross multiply. 4 times x is 4x. 5 times 14 is 70. Divide both sides by 4. And x equals, what's that, 35, 17 and a half. So we know that this is 17.5 yards. Okay, so 35, yeah, 17 and a half. Now we got to do the width, 10 inches. So again, we take our scale that's given to us. So they told us that 4 inches is equal to 5 yards in real life. Now we want to know what 10 inches is. So 10 inches in your notebook, right, is how many yards in real life. Again, this is x. 4x equals 50. Divide both sides by 4. And x equals, and again, 50 divided by 4, 25 to 12.5. Right? 12.5 plus 12.5 is 25. So therefore, another 12.5 and 12.5 is 25. So that gives us 50. So our width here is 12.5 yards. Do we need both? No, they just wanted the length. So actually the answer was 17.5. So we did a little extra. I did a little extra. No big deal. 62. Certain tests consist multiple choice questions and essay in the ratio of 5 to 2. So I'm going to write that. 5 multiple choice. And I like to write, right? I like to label it instead of just write 5 over 2. So there's 5 multiple choice questions for every 2 essay questions. Okay, that's the ratio. If the test has 6 essay questions, okay, and again, set up a portion, and at the bottom, it's going to be essay questions. So I'll just write essay, and at the top it's going to be multiple choice, right? So this way, never get confused as to who's who and who's what, right? So I have 2 values here, and then it says if the test contains 6 essay questions, so the test has 6 essay questions, how many multiple choice? You can cross multiply here, right? And again, I'll replace that question mark with x, or simply find that number, right, that I can multiply 2 to get 6, because it's going to be the same thing on top, or like I said, you can cross multiply. So this one is easy. The numbers are very friendly numbers. So 2 times 3 is 6, so that means that on top it has to be times 3. So 5 times 3 is 15. So our answer is 15. What is the total numbers of questions? So again, that's 15, right? So there's 15. So if the if the test has 6 essay questions, there's 15 multiple choice. We're still not done, because the question is how many questions are on the test. Well, on this particular test, There are 15 multiple choice questions. Oops. 15 multiple choice questions. And there were 6 essay questions. So they want us the total number of questions. So this test has a total of 21 questions. Okay? 60 something, 63. Oh, let me see which one. Yeah, 63. So again, I go back to anything anytime I can label or I can draw or I can, especially in a question like this, right? They give us information, so I'm going to automatically start putting the numbers where they belong. So AD is 20, so I know this guy is 20. DC is 15. BC is 7. And AB is 24. And we want to know the area of the quadrilateral ABCD. Well, we want the area of this irregular quadrilateral. It's not a square, it's a rectangle, right? So that's where we just multiply length times width or a parallelogram. But it's, you can tell it's made up of a triangle. So if we find the area of this triangle, and then we find the area of this triangle and add both areas, we can find the area of the quadrilateral. Right? So let's call this. Let me change colors here. I'll do this is 24. 7. So let's do the red triangle first. The red triangle is base times height divided by 2. So it's 20 times 15 divided by 2, right? Area. And 20 and 2 I can simplify to 10. And 10 times 15 is 150. So the red triangle, or this triangle right here, has an area 150 units squared, whatever, centimeters squared. Now let's do the blue. Again, base times height divided by 2 is 24 times 7 divided by 2. The 24 and 2 can simplify to 12, and 12 times 7 is 84. Now I know the area of both triangles. I can add, so it's 150 plus 84. And that's going to give me 234 square centimeters. Okay. 64. In a pond of 1,600 fish, 25% are trout. The remaining are bass. How many fewer trout are there than bass? Okay, so let's figure out. So again, this one I will use a percent proportion. Now, percent proportion looks like this. And this is part and total. Right? So using that proportion, it says that 100% of the fish in my pond is actually 1,600 fish. 25% are trout. Well, I don't know, right? So it's 25%, so it's some number over 1,600. Let's call it X. We can now, cross multiply. There's so many things you can do here. You can cross multiply as it is. Let me take that same proportion. You can make your life easier and simplify this to 1 over 4 and then cross multiply. Okay? Or the other one that I would do, because I can tell it's friendly numbers, is just look for that relationship, right? Because we're looking at two equivalent fractions, right? So 25 over 100 is equivalent to something over 1,600. And in order to find out, in this case, can you think of a number that multiplied by 100 is 1,600? That would be 16, right? Which means the top I multiplied by 16. So 25 times 16, if you think this way is easier, 16 is 530, 12, 15, 25, what do you have here? 0, 0, 400. So I'm going to change this to 400. So I know that 400 of the 1,600, which, silly enough, I didn't even need to do this. I'll now explain to you in a second. So silly, are trout. I mean, 1,600, guys, to find 25%, if you break 1,600 in half, think about this, and this was silly of me. If that's 1,600, and if you break it in half, that means there's 800 and 800 over here, which is 50 and 50%. If you break 800 again in half each side, then we have 25%, 25%, 25%, and 25%, which means each 25% is 400. So you don't even need to do a proportion. I did. Again, I guess I didn't see it. So again, now that you know, what do you call that? Trout's 400. That means that 1,200 are bass, right? So how many fewer trout? Well, 1,200 are bass and 400 are trout. The difference of 800. Ugh, silly. Again, 64, 66. And I know I didn't pick all the questions. Please feel free to do all of them if you want. I'll give you the answers. Okay. Let's read the question quickly. She walks at 3 kilometers in 2/3 of an hour. How many meters does she speed walk per minute? Okay, so let's set up a proportion. She walks 3 kilometers in 2/3 of an hour. Now, we want her how many meters. We want the answer in meters per minute. So that's what we wanted. So 3 kilometers, let me start again. 3 kilometers, 2/3 of an hour is 40 minutes. Okay? If you break 60 minutes into an hour into thirds, it's 20 minutes each. So 2/3 is 40 minutes. Now, it's not in the units that I want. It should be meters. What do you call it? Meters. So I'm going to make one more change, and instead of writing 3 kilometers, I'm going to write over here 3,000 meters. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. So 3 kilometers over 40 minutes. Now that I changed that, now I can find her rate at meters per. Meters per minute. So we want the unit rate. We're going to change the 40 minutes to 1. How? Again, you can cross multiply. You're more than welcome to do that. We can divide, and again, 40 by 40 to get 1, which means we divide the top by 40. So 3,000 divided by 40. We can simplify, and again, we can simplify or divide as we the standard way. And 300 divided by 4 is, let's see, 150, 75. So our answer is 75 meters in 1 minute. Okay. What number was it? 66. Okay. Uh, 66. Let's see. I think it's 68 next on the page. The sheet. 68. Which number line shows a solution to the inequality above? Now, this is a compound inequality, right? So I would solve it. -2 less than x over 3 less than 1. So we want that answer to look something like this. A number less than x, right? Something we want it like that. We want x isolated. Just like when we solve any inequality equation, we want our x by itself. So what's happening with the x? The x is being divided by 3. It's the inverse operation of division. It's times 3. We're going to multiply that by 3, which means if I do that, I have to multiply all 3 parts by 3, which means I got to multiply the -2 by 3 and the 1 by 3. So 3 times -2 is -6, less than, and then this 3 simplifies to 1. 1 times x is x, and 1 times 3 is 3. So which of these 4 choices have x is greater than -6 but less than 3? So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. This is 3, so that checks. -8, -7, -6. So F is the one that I want. Okay? So the process here was isolating x, solving the compound inequality. Okay? 69. Between which 2 consecutive integers? Well, that's simple enough, right? 43, all we have to do is divide it by 8. 8 goes to 43 5 times, which is 40. 3 comes down. You can add a decimal, bring a 0 down. 8 goes into 3 how many times? 4 times. Sorry, not 4, 3. 8 times 3 is 24, and so on. So the answer is 5.3 something, right? So, and 5.3 is between what integers? It's between 5 and 6. There you go. 70. Isabel has 10 boards that are x meters long. Okay, she has 5 boards that are 2x meters long. She also has boards that measure 3 meters, 6 meters, 4, 9 meters. And if she were to lay all her boards in a straight line with no gaps between, all the boards would measure 271. What is the value of x? Okay, so let's do that. So let's first, so we know the total is 271, right? We have some that we don't know. Let's take the ones that we know. We have one board that's 3, 6, 9, and 13, right? We know that. So let's subtract those ones. Okay, so 271 minus 3, we could have added all these up first. So 3 and 6 is 9, 9 and 9 is 18, 18 and 13 is 31. So we could have done 271 minus 31, oops, minus 31, and that gives us 240, right? And then we have 10 boards that are x meters long. So we have x plus x plus x into 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you didn't have to write this, but I'm just showing you, right? So I have 10 boards that are x plus x, well, each measuring x, and how many? And some 5 of them that measure 2x. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know the sum of all these boards together equal 240. Right? I subtracted the ones that I did know, and the difference here, 240, is the value that I'm going to use. It's equal to the leftover boards, which is the 10 that measure x and the 5 that measure 2x, 2x. Now, this is, again, instead of writing x plus x plus x 10 times, you could have simply written 10x. Instead of writing 2x plus 2x plus 2x plus 2x plus 2x, you could have written 10x. And there's our equation, much simplified. 10x plus 10x is 20x equals 240. We're going to divide both sides by 20, and x equals 12. So do we have a 12? Yeah, we do. 72. What is the circumference of the circle? All right. And again, we want the circumference of the circle. So circumference is 2 pi r, or if you have the diameter, c equals pi d. Whichever one you want to use. That's a square, so that means all sides are 6. And we draw our center of our circle. All right, so and I'll draw the diameter. Right, the diameter is 6, or if you want to write that the radius is 3 and 3. We want the circumference of the circle, so it really doesn't matter which one I use. I like to use c equals pi d, so c equals pi times the diameter, which is 6. C equals 6 pi units. And our answer, this one is simple, it's just G. Okay. 73. 73, if x plus y equals 12 and x is 15, then what is minus x equals y? So x plus y equals 12 and x equals 15, well, let's replace that. So f 15 plus y equals 12, we can subtract 15 from both sides, which means y equals negative 3. So now I know that x equals 15, y is negative 3. Okay. So the big problem in this question is this subtract the negative sign. Okay, so let me write this exactly as it says, and we are to find, right, what's x divided by y. So we're going to replace, right, substitute. So with substitution, you literally take x out and you plug it in. Change colors. There. Take x out and you plug it in with whatever value given to you. Now, same thing for y. I'm going to take y out and replace it with the value that's given. I'll use black. And y, in this case, is negative 3. Exactly as it is. But that's what it should look like when with a substitution. Now, we all know what 15 divided by 3 is, which is 5, but we have two negatives here. So a negative and a negative is going to make this positive. And that's, I think, what the tricky part of this question is. So 73 is D. What did that time? 75. They're 20. Oh, okay, I'm 25, 75, 75, 75. 20, 250 giggles. In one laugh. Okay, so 250 G in one laugh. And we have 3 laughs in one burst. How many giggles? How many giggles? I'll write giggles here. How many giggles are in 2 bursts? So 3 laughs equals 1. So I need to change this guy here. So the ratio that I want, here's the question, right? How many giggles per burst? I know it's 3 laughs per burst, right? But if I change this, I'm going to change this guy over here to giggles, right? So I can have the relationship between giggles and bursts. So if one laugh is 250 giggles, right? So if I have 3 laughs, it's safe for me to say that 3 laughs, okay, is the same thing. So again, let me change that. 3 laughs. Right? Again, an equivalent fraction. 1 laugh is going to become 3. So again, I multiply this by 3. So that means that 3 laughs is 750 giggles. So I can come over here and remember this had 3 laughs before, right? So instead of 3 laughs, I'm going to write the equivalent, which is 750 giggles. So that's the relationship that I know now. So the question ends up, and now I can use this, and I'm going to bring that down, because the question is, how many giggles in 2 bursts? Well, I know that 1 burst, right, is 750 giggles, right? We just found that out. So if there's 2 bursts, well, this one's easy. Times 2, we multiply the top times 2, we get 1,500 giggles, and there's our answer. Okay. 77 or 77. Okay, bus travels 1,070 miles. The bus covers the first 310 miles in 5 hours. If the bus continues to travel at this rate, how many more hours will it take to reach Syracuse? Well, yes, I can. The bus travel from Jacksonville. Yes, so it's going from Jacksonville to Syracuse. Okay. And it's at 1,070 miles distance-wise. The bus covers the first 310 miles in 5 hours. Okay. So, if the bus continues to travel at this rate, what is the rate? Well, we have to find the speed. So remember, there is a formula. Remember, d equals r times t, distance equals rate times time. We can use this, right, to find rate in this case. So the same thing, so look what happens when I divide both sides by t. This t and this t goes away, and we have a different formula now for rate. The rate is distance over time. Right? So we're going to use that. So rate, or our speed, is the distance, which is 310 divided by 5. And if you divide 310 divided by 5, 60, 30, 10, okay, 62. So our speed, the bus is traveling at 62 miles per hour. Okay, so we covered the first 310 miles, so we went 310 miles in 5 hours, or 62 miles an hour. If the bus continues to travel this rate, how many more hours will it take to reach Syracuse? Okay, so it traveled 310 miles, so we have a distance of 1,070. We already traveled 310, so let's subtract 6 and then 10 minus 3 is 7. So there's 760 miles to go left. Right? And we know the speed, we want the time. So again, let me go. Our original formula was distance equals rate times time. I can rework this equation to isolate either d, r, or t. In this case, I want to isolate t. Right? So I want to know what t is. So if I divide both sides by r, these two simplify to 1. So t now is distance divided by speed, or the rate. So I have the distance right here, which is how much I have left over to go to get to Syracuse. I have the speed, which we calculated a little bit earlier. So if you have 760 miles and you're driving at 62 miles an hour, how much time will it take? Well, t equals distance, 760 divided by 62. It's going to be over, well, we definitely know, over 10 hours. So 760 divided by 62 goes 1. 62, 410, that's going to be 12 again. Round your answer to the nearest whole hour, okay? 12, that's a 4, that's a 12. We're going to have 6, 4, 3 minus 2 is 1. And we're going to add a decimal, 160. That's going to be 12.2, right? 12.2 and change. So the closest to this would be 77, would be a 12 hours. Okay? Ooh, quite a few steps in here. 79. What is the average of all the even numbers in the sets? What? Of all the even numbers in the set. 2, 3, so all the even numbers. Let's write it down, the even numbers. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 14. Well, we can add these, right? So again, 8 and 2 is 10, 6 and 4 is 10, so we have 10, 20, and 30. 12 and 14 is 26. So we have a total of 46, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, sorry, this is 56. Apologies. 56, and we have 7 numbers, so 56 divided by 7, and the answer is 8. Sometimes I get a little bit surprised, like for the simplicity of some of the questions. Really, is that all they're asking? 81. Who's 81? Nope. 81. Point X. Again. Point Z, I'm sorry. We have a point W and a point X. Point Z is exactly halfway, okay, on the number line. Point W and X on the standard number line. So point X is halfway between point Z and Y. Okay. Where's point Z? Where's point W if Z is located at 1/3? So Z is located 1/3. And Y is located at 11 1/3. So where's, where's point W if Z is located at 1/3? If point Z, sorry, is at 1/3 and point Y is at 11/3, the distance between Z and Y, okay, so we know the distance that from here to here is 10/3, right? So if you're going by 1/3 by 1/3, okay, so it's 1/3, and again, let's see if I can do this: 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1/3, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. I want to illustrate 4/3, 5/3, 6/3, and we're gonna 7/3, 8/3, 9/3, 10/3, and sorry, 11/3. I think you might see it better. So I know that point Z is here, 1/3. Right, so imagine there's a ruler that's going by 1/3. This is point Y. Point X is between Z and Y, correct? Point X is halfway between Z and Y, so what's the halfway? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's point X. Let me make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So point X is at 6/3, which is 2. Right? The whole number 2, 11, and this is 3 and 2/3, if that makes it a little better for you guys. But I think counting by thirds, it's a little bit easier. Where's point W? So again, point Z is halfway between W and X. So point W, which is on this side of the world, right? Point W is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, and this is point W. So if that's 1/3, this is 0, correct? This is negative 1/3, negative, well, another 1/3, another 1/3, and another 1/3. Right, so it's going to be, oh, shut up. Well, it's okay. 1/3, 2, so that's going to be 3 and 1/3. 1, 2, 3, negative 4/3. If you just simplest way, just add the 1/3. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3. There you go. Negative 4/3. Ugh. So, to me, I guess this is, I don't know, I think the visual helps. Okay. Green by thirds. I think the key point in here was this. Right? Z was 1/3 and then Y was 11/3. So that gave you an idea that the distance between these 2 points, 11/3 by 1/3, is 10/3. And if you wanted to do what I did and just make 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3, 5/3, etc., 6/3, 7/3, and just go by thirds, that could have been also a path that you could have taken. 81, 82. Oh, here we go. And it's an integer greater than negative 3.75. So here, let's draw a number line. Let's draw a better number line. Let's call it 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. If I don't mean anything there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So n is an even integer that's greater than negative 3.75. Let me locate negative 3. Here's negative 3.75. So if n is an integer greater, that means it's on, I'll shade this side of the world. Right? Any integer that's on this side, it could be n. What is the least possible value? What's the smallest possible value? All right, so if it's greater, it could be negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, negative 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and again, forever and ever. So out of all the integers that are on the shaded part here, right, yellow, all the way to infinity, right, all the way to infinity, which one is the smallest of them? The smallest one is negative 3. Okay. Sorry, even. So, oops. And again, sorry, the answer is not negative 3, it's negative 2 because they said even integer. Okay, even. The smallest even integer that's greater than negative 3.75 is negative 2. Okay. Talk about. Careful. 283. LCM. So we have the least common multiple of 8, 32, and 48. So which number shows up in smallest number that shows up in the 8 times table, in the 32 times table, and 48 times table that is common to all three. Right. So I don't know if you guys done this. This is, you can remember from the 6th grade. So we have, this is, what was it called? The ladder method? Yes, it's called the ladder method. You can do the ladder, I'll do it 2 ways. You can do it the ladder method, okay, or you can maybe, well, you can do the ladder method, or you can start your listing multiples, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, etc., right? And you can do the same for 32, 64, 96, and you see the trouble you get to by doing this. 32 again, that's an 8, 128, that's 32. Well, actually, it's not that bad because we don't have to go too far. Because 32 is 160. So we definitely know that it's not 144 because 144 doesn't show up in the 32. So it's going to be 128, and then let's just confirm 48. Again, 48 times 2 is 96, and then plus 48, 154. So again, we know now that it's not 128, it's 96, it's 8. 8 times 12 is 96, so again, actually, the answer was 96. You can do this several different ways. The ladder method is there, so let's do the ladder method. Let's see if I remember. We need to find a number that divides into 8, 32, and 48. And let's just pick 8. 8 goes into 8 one time. 8 goes into 32 4 times. 8 goes into 48 6 times. We're going to continue. Now, so the tough part with the ladder method is that a lot of people get confused when to continue, because now I am looking for a number that can go into 4 and 6, right? If you were doing the GCF, you would have stopped. The greatest common factor between 8, 32, and 48 is 8. But when it's LCM, I can actually continue. If you don't, you can always fast forward. So if this is confusing because you haven't done it, ignore it. You can look for another number that goes into at least 2 of the numbers. 2 works, so 2 does not go into 1, but I bring it down anyway. 2 goes to 4 2 times, and 2 goes into 6 3 times. So the LCM, and it forms the letter L. So this nice thing about this method is actually the LCM is the product of all these numbers. So we have 3 times 2, which is 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12, and 12 times 8 is 96. So Another method, and I'll do it. We can use its prime factor. So 8 is the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2. 32 is the same thing as, let's see, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 2, 4, 8, 2, 4, 8, 16 times 2. And 48 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, I'm just 2, 4, 8, 16, and then times 3. That's what. Now, and then we can, now we get to see what they have in common. So they share a group of 2's in common. So I bring 1, 2 down. They share another group of 2 down. So I bring that down. And I multiply them. They share another group of 2, and I bring that down. So it's so far it's 3. Now, 2, 4, 8. 2, 4, 8, and I bring this 2 over here, and I bring that 2 over here, and I bring the 3. And if I multiply 2 times 2 times 2, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and 32 times 3, I also get 6. So first you circle the ones that you have in common, and you bring them down, and then everything that's not in common also gets brought down. Okay, and then you multiply all of them, and you get 96. Okay, so 3 different methods. 84. Uh-oh. Age problem. Dave is now 4 more years, so we have an age problem here. And we have Dave. And we have Henry. So we have now Dave is 4 more than twice the age of Henry. How old is Henry right now? Well, we don't know, so let's call him age. Henry is 8 years old. Dave is 4 more than twice the 2 age. So that's the now problem. And Henry will be, if Henry will be 18 in 3 years, so 3 plus years, right? Henry's going to be 18. And in 3 plus years, if we add, Dave will be, well, 4 plus 3 is going to be 7 plus 2h. Right? How old was Dave 2 years ago? So we can set up an equation here. We know that 7 plus 2h equals h. Sorry. 3 years. Let's see if I do this right. So Dave, h plus 3 is 18. So in 3 years, Henry, right, it's going to be 18. So we can set up an equation on that and find Henry's age today. So h, his current age, plus 3 gives him 18. So that means if I do minus 3, I get that Henry today is 15. So I can go back over here and write that he's 15. And I can use that to solve, to find out what Dave is. So Dave is going to be 4 plus 2h equals 15. Oh, sorry, I don't need to do that. I know Dave's age, so what I meant was, I can, since I know what h is, I can replace the 15 with age, and I can go 4 plus 2 times 15, 4 plus 30, and that gives his current age of 34. So 2 years ago, Dave was 32, right? Because minus 2, continuing this table, if Dave is now 34, 2 years ago, he was 32. Okay. Sorry, made a little mess of the problem here, but let me know if I need to redo it. 84, no, what was the next one? 86, okay, 86. Angle A and angle B are supplementary, so that means that A plus B is 180. That's what it is, right? If the measure of angle B, so angle B, is 1/3 of angle A. What is the measure of angle B? Well, so let me write this again. A plus B is 180. We have a second equation. B is 1/3 of A. And we have two variables here, but if you notice, I can rewrite, right? I can rewrite, I know what B is. B is 1/3 of A, so I can come and replace this B over here, right, with 1/3. Sorry, I went the other wrong way. Right? I can change that B and write 1/3 of A. So I can say A plus 1/3 of A equals 180. Okay. And then I can just solve. Remember, there's an invisible 1 here, so that actually gives me 1 and 1/3 A equals 180. Let me change that to an improper. That becomes 4/3 of A equals 180. I can multiply both sides left side. Right? We want to isolate A. I can multiply both sides by 3/4. This is times 3/4. That all simplifies too, and just leaves me with A. And then over here, 180, let's see, 4. This is 45, right? And then 45 times 3 is 15, goes 135. And then we know what angle A is, which is 135. So B would be supplement, which is 45. Do we have 45? 86. Actually, there was an easier way. So we have A plus B equals 180. We have, what is it? B is 1/3 of A. So instead of you doing what I did, because instead of writing 1/3 of A, I'm going to write it like this: A over 3, which is the same thing. Now, what I should have done was multiply both sides by 3. That gets crossed out. That gets crossed out. And I know now that A is 3B. So now that I know what A is, I can come to the first, our original equation, and replace the A with 3B. So I end up having, so if I replace A with 3B, I get 3B, and then plus B, plus 180. 3B plus B is 4B, equals 180. And we divide by 4 on both sides, and B equals 45. I think that was the easier way. Tell anyone if you don't tell. Are we 88? Percent of decrease. Well, the percent of decrease, the one thing I know is that this has to be a percent change. We can use percent change. So percent change is, again, new minus old over old. In March, the electricity was 5,000. In April, it was not 5,000, 5 million. Maple is 4 million. What was the change, right? So the new one is 4 million, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The old one was 5 million. Over 5 million. 3, right? We'll call this X for now. Cross multiply. You're going to get 5 million, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, X. Then we subtract these, we're going to get negative 1 million. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And divide both sides by 5 million. That's going to simplify to 1. And that's just 1 over 5, which is going to give us 0.2. Right, and we change that to a decimal, percentage, it becomes 20%. So there was a decrease of 20%. Now I know I'm right because my answer is negative, right? And if it's negative, it's a decrease, and percentage-wise, because a decrease of 20%. So you could have just done that, okay? Yeah, that's it. 8. $90. Sorry. Sum of 6 consecutive odd numbers, 36. What's the difference between the highest and the lowest? Well, consecutive odd numbers. So if the first number is x, right? So think about it. Let me just write some odd numbers. If your first number is x, how do you get to 3? Well, that would be x plus 2. Your first number is 1. How do you get to 5? The third consecutive odd number would be x plus 4. And x plus 6, and so forth, and so forth. So you would do the same thing if they were even numbers as well. So we have 6 consecutive odd numbers. So the first one is x, the second one is x plus 2, the third one is x plus 3, fourth one is x plus 4, then x, oops, sorry, x plus 4 over here, x plus 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, x plus 8, 6 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one more, x plus 10. And we know that all of them add up to 36. So we just combine like terms, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6x. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 and 6 is 12. 12 and 8 is 20. And 20 plus 10 is 30. That's what we have so far. Subtract 30 from each side. We have 6x equals 6. Divide both sides by 6. And x equals 1. Right, you can always substitute and double check to make sure your answer is correct. Okay. Oh, sorry, x is not equals 1. We want the difference between the highest and the lowest, which is not what I did. So we have the x, if x equals 1, we have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. Just double check. 9 and 11 is 10. No, I didn't do this correctly. No, I did. 9 and 11 is 20. 3 and 10 is 10. 3 and 7 is 10, so that's 30 plus 6, 36. Okay, so my consecutive odd integers are sum. This is correct. That equals, it does equal 36, but we want the highest, which is 11, the lowest, which is 1, and we want to subtract them, and we get 10. Okay, so that's the answer. Oh, I'm going to read the whole question. 91. 5,000 children were surveyed. How many have bedtimes that are 10:30 p.m. or earlier, according to the circle graph? There were 5,000 children. and 10:30 p.m. or earlier. 10:30 p.m. earlier than 10. No bedtime. It would be this group, and this group. Okay, so it would be 27, 53%. Right, so we have a percent, so 50%, 53% of the children, right, go to bed 10:30 or earlier. So what is 53% of 5,000? And that's what we want to do. So again, you can set up a percent proportion. We have 53% on the top, and we want to know the number of children out of 5,000 that represents 53%. Well, we can cross multiply. I mean, and over here it would be just times 50, right? 100 times 50 is 5,000. And do the same thing on the top. So 53 times 50. 5 and 3 is 15, plus 1, 2650. That's my answer. So you could have, again, cross-multiplied or just found that relationship. Okay. 95, 97. It's really humid today. Oh. 97. A survey asks students what type of exercise they do. Based on the results, the following statements are all true. 40 students jog, 32 students lift weights, 12. This is a, for me, a Venn diagram. I think it makes life much easier. Okay, so we have, what do we have here? People who jog and people who do weights. 40 students jog. So again, remember, these are the 4 numbers you have to worry about in this case. I can't start with this because I can't put 40 over here without knowing how many jog and do weights at the same time, right? So that's being correct. 36 students lift weight. Again, I can't do that because I don't know out of the 36, do some of them jog? Or is this 36 lift weight only? If that had an only at the end of the sentence, then I could have put 36 over here, but I don't. 12 students both jog and lift. So that is helpful because I can put that over here. So I know for sure 12 people do the same. So that, check. Now I can go back to the first one, first statement where it says 40 students jog. I need 40 students in the circle, in the jogging circle. I already have 12. So that means it's 28. 28 plus 12 is 40. I have 40 students jogging. Good. 36 students lift weights. Already have 12 lifting weights, so 36 minus 12 means that there's 24, so I can do that. 16 don't like to jog or weight, they probably do something else, and I put the 16 over here. How many students were surveyed, which is the sum of all these 4 numbers. So 28, 12 and 24 is 36, and then we have the 16 outside. It's 6, 6, 12 plus 8 is 20, carry 2, 2, 4, 7, 8. 80 students were surveyed. What was that? 97? Now we're going to do 98. We got 90. 98. Larissa, 3 times as much as Tom. That is right. You know what? Yeah, we can use T. Nella, half of Tom. So whatever Tom reads, she does half. And Tom is just Tom. If all 3 people read for a total of 18 hours, how many hours did Tom read? So we get 3t plus t over 2 plus t equals 18. So it's 3t. Now remember, there is an invisible 1 over here. Okay, so 3t plus half a t plus t is actually going to give us, you can write a decimal, you can write as a fraction, doesn't matter, 4.5. I'm just going to write as a decimal, 4.5t equals 18, right? And then we're going to divide both sides by 4.5. Right, that simplifies, and 18 divided by 4.5 is just 4. So Tom read for a grand total of 4 hours. Sorry, text messages. On Monday, 100 push-ups of 4 Tuesday. On Monday, erase that. 14 dozen golf balls. We're talking per dozen, so 14 dozen per 100 people. I don't know if we can do that. And then on Tuesday, if 150, proportional, 100 people show up, how many dozen balls can I expect? So here, we can set up that proportion. We can cross multiply. Can we find a relationship? Can we make this easier? Yes, we can. You know what we can do? That 14 can become a 7, and that 100 can be a 50. Right? We can simplify that ratio to 7 over 50, and it becomes much easier, right? So we're looking at to go this way. Can you find the relationships? 50 times what is 150? It's times 3. And 7, we can multiply that by 3 again, so we get 21 dozen. Okay? All ratios, no? 101. N belongs to the set of rational numbers. Okay, so n can be any of those numbers. If 4.n is an integer, what is n? Okay, so 4.9 times what? Which one of these numbers divided by 1.4 will result in an integer? Well, can we simplify 4.9 and 1.4? Yeah, we can. Think about it. 4.9, right? We can divide that, and you know what? Why don't we multiply top and bottom by 10? So we get 49 and then 14. And if we now simplify, we can simplify this by 7. We get 7 over 2, because that's 7, and this becomes 2. 7 over 2. So 7 over 2 is the same thing as 3.5. Okay, so we can, or you could have done that from the beginning, okay, and change 4.9 over 1.4 and simply write 3.5n. Right, so whether you do it with this or after you simplify, you still get 3.5n. So think about it, 3.5n, and n represents 0.4, 0.5, 1.1, 2.0, or 3.5. So 3.5 times which of these numbers will result in an integer? 3.5 times 0.4, 3.5 times 0.5, 3.5 times 1.1, 3.5 times 2, and hello, times 2, 3.5 times 2 is 7, right? So that results in an integer, so that's the one we're looking for. Okay. So the trick here was, I guess, or the trick, or the led you to an easier is simplifying 4.9 over 1.4 and see it as 3.5 times n. Look at it this way, and then see which of these numbers multiplied by 3.5 would work. Okay, so just a different view there. 101, 102. A painter uses a shade of green made from 1/3 ounces of blue paint and 1 1/3 ounces of blue and 1 2/3 ounces of yellow makes green. Okay. Wait, hang on a second. Painter uses a shade of green made of 1/3 of blue and 1 2/3 of yellow. Okay. What is the ratio of blue to yellow paint in this shade of green? Okay, so blue to yellow, so again, it's 1/3 over 1 2/3, right? So this is the ratio of blue to yellow, but let's make that a little bit prettier. So 1/3 I'm going to keep as 1/3, but I'm going to change the 1 2/3 to 3 times minus 3 plus 2 5/3. Are you okay with that? Now we can take that. I'm going to change colors. 1/3 divided by 5/3, we can change that to 1/3 times 3 over 5, the reciprocal of 5/3, and then simply becomes 1 over 5. So the ratio of blue to yellow is 1 to 5. Okay. Just a little. I'm so happy that I'm doing this on my laptop. You guys have no idea. 104, we have yogurt bars, mix of fruit and yogurt bars, exactly 8 strawberry, okay, 8 strawberry. The probability of choosing a strawberry from the box is 2 over 5, okay? So the probability of getting strawberry is 2 over 5. How many of the yogurt bars are not strawberries? So think about this for a second. The probability of getting a strawberry is 2 over 5, right? So originally, so remember, to find the probability of something is the number of strawberries over the total number of yogurt bars. So there were 8 strawberries over a total that I'm going to call x right now. And that's simplified to 2/5. Well, you can cross multiply. You can find a relationship, right? So let's cross multiply in this case. Well, x times 2 is 2x. 8 times 5 is 40. Divide both sides by 2. Divide both sides by 2, and x equals 20. Just to confirm, so we had a box of yogurt bars, and we wanted the probability of strawberry. The probability of strawberry was 8 over 20. Does that really simplify to 2 over 5? Well, if we divide this by 4, we get 2, and divide this by 4, we get 5. Yeah. So we're good. So in the beginning, this mixed box of frozen yogurt had 20 yogurt bars. Okay, so if the probability, so we know that there's 20, right? So if there's 20 yogurt bars and 8 of them are strawberries, that means 12 are not strawberry. Where are we? So 12 is my answer. There we go. 106 is the one I circled. Nick and Alex work on a paper together. Nick wrote 2/7 of the paper, and Alex wrote 20 pages. Then what was the total length of the paper? So here's Nick. He wrote 2/7 of the paper. Here's Alex. Well, if Nick wrote 2 sevens, that means Alex, he wrote 5 sevenths of the paper. Okay, which is the same thing as 20 pages. Then what was the total length of the paper? So this one is nice because I actually can draw something. So think about this for a second. Here's a paper, and we're going to divide this into 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll erase the one that I don't need. Okay, so this is really nice. I like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to shade in, I'm going to write A for Alex. So Alex, 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 Alex. So this is the ones that Alex did, and I'll write N for Nick. 2 sevenths. Now Alex did 5 sevenths, right? Because Nick did 2 sevenths. So, and that was 20 pages. So, and again, if 5 sevenths is 20 pages, that means that each of these boxes is 4, 4. Each seventh, right, is equal to 4. Which means this is another 7th. This is another 7th. That also equals to 4. So the total here, we have 4 times 7, okay, which is 28. You could have done an equation, so you could have said 5 sevenths of a number, or of x, equals 20, right? And then you could have 5 sevenths times x equals 20. Now we're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 5 7, which is 7 fifths times 7 fifths. That simplifies to x. And on this side, 20 and 5 can be simplified to 4, and 4 times 7 is 28. I personally like this. No, 107. In the figure above, A is the vertex of square, ABCD, and the center of a circle. So we have a circle. We have a circle, right? Like you can see the circle. Oh no. Okay, here we go. You can see the circle, right? That's the half circle. And then if I continue, it'll be the other side of the circle, which means this is your center of the circle, right? If that's the center of the circle, right off the bat, guys, you should know that this line here, or this line here, are also the radius of the circle. Let me just read a little bit more. A is the vertex, and the center circle. In the center circle that contains BD. The area of the square is 100, what do you call, square meters. So if the square's 100 square meters, that means that this guy is 10 and this guy is 10, right? Which means this guy is 10 and which means that guy is 10. So we know the radius. We can write R equals the radius circle. What is the area of the shaded part? Okay. Huh. The area of the shaded part, and I hope you see it, is this guy right here. And that maybe if I shade the whole thing in yellow, you'll see that it's a quarter area of a circle, right? And the shaded part is this, right? So if you understand that, then we know that to find the shaded area, which is the blue part, it would be the area of a quarter of a circle. So area of a quarter of a circle minus, and what is this yellow? What is that shape of the yellow? Minus the yellow triangle. I don't know. Minus, I'm just going to write triangle. Minus the triangle. That's going to give us the shaded region. So, we have to calculate that. Let's go for the quarter circle. So area of a circle is pi r squared. Area equals pi. We know the radius, right, which is this guy all the way to here, is 10. So we know the area of the circle is 100 pi. We're going to divide that by 4 because we're not interested in the full circle, we're just using the quarter. The area is 25 pi units squared. Let's forget the units for now. So the area of the circle, and I'll go back and shade it in yellow, right? This quarter circle, 25 pi. So over here, I'm going to write 25 pi. Minus now the area of the triangle. Maybe I should. This is 25 pi. And we got to figure out the area of the triangle. So let me go back and erase this. Now the area of the triangle, and you can see it clearly now, right? The base is 10 and the height is 10, so the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. 10 times 10 divided by 2, and that simplifies to 5, and 5 times 5 times 10 is 50. So the area of a triangle is 50 units squared. Okay? Square, whatever the units are. So area of the circle, 25 pi, minus the area of this triangle, which is 50, equals our shaded region. Unfortunately, I cannot subtract these two, so this is my final answer. Do we have something like that? Yes, we do. Letter D. Huh. I like this question. Okay. Want to wait? Ah, 25 cabins and 4 cafeterias. Joseph likes 8 of the 25 cabins and 2 of the 4 cafeterias. What is the probability that he's assigned to something, to both a cabin and a cafeteria he likes? And, so the key word is and. So we got 2 probabilities, and because it's and, we got to multiply. So let's start with the cabins. And then the cafeteria. So the probability that he gets a cabin that he likes is 8 out of 25. Times probability that he gets 8 out of 25 cabins. Probability that he gets one of the cabins that he likes is 8 out of 25. Times the probability that he gets one of the cafeteria that he likes, which is 2 out of 4. Right? There's 2 out of 4 chance he gets assigned to a cafeteria he likes. And then what's the probability that both gets accomplished? So we got to multiply. This becomes a half. The 2 can simplify with the 8, and I get 4. So I can't simplify anymore. So I get 4 out of 25 chance that. Now it's not written in fraction form, so we got to change that to percent. 2 choices. You can go 4 and divide by 25, right? Add a 0 because 25 does not. Sorry, put a 0 on top of the 4 because 25 does not go into 4. Add a decimal, add a 0, 25 goes into 4 one time. We're going to subtract. 10 minus 5 is 5, 3 minus 2 is 1. We're going to bring another 0 down, and then 25 goes into 156. So 6 times. So 0.16 is the answer, or as a percent, 16%. Another way you could have done this is just set up a portion, right? Percent something out of 100. So how do I change 4 over 25 as an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100? Well, you can cross multiply or just find a nice relationship. 25 times what's 100? It's times 4. We'll multiply the top times 4. and we get 60. Either, whichever method is more comfortable for you. 109. So, see if we can find a pattern here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to write a few down. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And what do we want? From 1 to 99. It has a 3 as a factor, right? So, which means you can divide by 3. So 99 divided by 3. There's 33 numbers divisible by 3 here, okay? But not a factor of 6. So and we can, again, 6, 12, 18, 24. So again, we can go 99 and divide by 6. What's 99 divided by 6? 1, 6, 19, no, sorry, 39, 6, 36. 3 left over, add a decimal, 16.5. So 16.5 is the answer. We can only, we don't, obviously, I'm going to count the decimal, so we're going to use 16. So 36 numbers are divided by 3, 16 divided by 6, 36, 33 minus 16, which gives us a total of 17. Actually, that wasn't as bad as I thought. $111. Ugh. Bert has B action figures and Cho has C action figures. What? Hey, my name is on the test. Bert has B action figures, Cho has C action figures. If Bert gives 4 action figures to Cho, Bert will have, so let's write this information. So Bert has B and Cho has C. So, and then Bert gives 4. If Bert gives 4 to Cho, he's going to have B, he's going to have minus 4, right? He's going to have a little less. And Cho, he's going to have plus 4. Bert will, Bert gives 4 action figures to Cho. Okay, so we know what happens here. And then it says that Bert will have twice as many action figures as Cho. So here's our equation. So this is what happened, and then Bert will have twice as many as Cho. So Bert is, take this over here. All right, so let me explain what we did. So this is what we started the problem with. Bert had B, Cho had C, and then Bert gave 4 away, so now he has B minus 4, and Cho has C plus 4. So we established what they had before, and we established what they had after. And then a relationship happened. After that give and take happened, Bert is going to have twice as many as Cho. Okay, and now we can come over here and use this information over here in this equation to hopefully find a relationship between B and C. So Bert, right, after, because this relationship here where Bert has twice as Cho happens after he gives 4 away. So Bert right now has B minus Joe right now has C, whatever he had before, plus the 4 Bert had given him. Let's see, what do you call it? Discrete property, so B minus 4, and on this side we got 2C plus 8. What are they doing? B minus 4 plus C plus, well, we have this already, right here. I don't think they want us to simplify or do this tree properly. B minus 4 equals 2C plus 4. This is wrong because when you do this tree properly, it should have been 2C plus 8, so that's why that's wrong. And 2 times B minus 4, that's not going to happen, right? It's not twice Bert, it's actually twice Cho, so that's why this is wrong. And again, D has twice Bert instead of twice Cho, so that's why that's wrong. So this one, and we got that answer, so we know it's correct. Huh, look at that. 112. In the figure above, BGC is 10 degrees. Oh my god. Where's B? BGC. So let me write 10 over here. Oh, sorry. It's 10 less than the measure of CGD. Oh my god. Okay. I can't see, to be honest with you. What is that little thing on top of the X? A little bubble? I'm just making it a little bigger. Yes, a little bit. Sorry. BGC is 10 less than CGD. Where's CGD? Okay, 10 less than CGD. So here's CGD, where my pen is going around in circles. And so BGC is 10 less. So whatever X is, this guy is going to be X minus 10. And the measure of DGE, which is this guy here, is 25 more than EGF. EGF. So this guy is 25 more than this guy here, 2x. What is the measure of DGE? Okay, so we have what do you call it? We have all the angles. We can just go and say we have all the angles, and we know it's one big circle. So all we have to do now is write, let's start with this guy here. 2x plus 3x plus 30, and I'm going to go around, plus x minus 10 plus x plus 25 plus 2x. And all that equals 360. And that's all you have to do. So let's collect like terms. 2x and 3x is 5x, 6x, 7x. Looks like 9x to me. 30 minus 10 is 20. 20 plus 25 is 45. Equals 360. And then subtract 45 from both sides. We get 315 and 9x. We're going to divide both sides by 9. And x equals, I have no idea. 327. 45. Okay, so x is 35. X is 35. That's not the answer to our question. We want angle DGE. Let me highlight that. Where's DGE? DGE. We want this angle over here. So I can come here and replace this guy with 35. So we get 25 plus 2 times 35. And we get 25, and 2 times 35 is 70, and we get final answer of 95. Yeah, no cute question. Okay. Then we have 114. P is the center of the circle, okay, of the area. Okay. AB is the diameter, okay. The perimeter of the rectangle, ABCD, the big rectangle, is 72. PQ is the radius. Q is on CD. What is the circumference of the circle? Am I reading this right? Right, so hang on a second. This is square. PQ is the center of the circle. AB is the diameter. Okay. Perimeter is 70. So I know this guy plus 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 this guy, that equals 72, right? That's the perimeter of the rectangle. Okay, just stating that. PQ is the radius. PQ is the radius. So if this is the radius, this is also the radius. Agreed? Right? It's the center of the circle going to the outer edge of the circle, so that's the radius. And this is the radius. Right? So, which means that this has the same measurement as this, which has the same measurement as this, and if this has the same measurement as this has the same measurement as this, and this has the same measurement as that. Everybody okay with that? And now rephrase. This is the center of the triangle. This is the radius. This is also the radius, right? Which means this is also the radius. They're all the radius, and I'm going to draw a line across it stating that this has the same measurement as this. Okay, so on the other side at the bottom here, right, so this distance from A to P is the same as the distance from D to Q. This distance over here, P to B, is also the same distance as Q to C. Now this line coming down, P and Q, is also a radius, which means have the same value as the other two radius, which means this is the same and that's the same. That's, I think, it was what's going to help you. So I guess we can call that X, 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 we can call that X. The perimeter of this rectangle is all those sides added together, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6x equals 72, divided by 6, x equals 12. So coming back to this, it means that this is 12, this is 12, this is 12, 12, this is 12, and this is 12. Now that we have, and this is 12, we want the circumference, so c equals 2 pi r, or c equals pi d, whichever one you want to use. Let's go for the more direct one. The radius is 12, so it means the diameter is 24, so c equals pi times 24. And that's it. That's our answer. Okay, what's the circumference of the circle? C equals 24 pi. Yeah, that's it.